For over a century, the story seemed settled. Around 900 CE, the Maya vanished. Cities fell silent, a civilization supposedly swallowed by jungle. But ancient DNA recovered from Copan tells a different story. Those genomes still carry 78% lowland Maya ancestry, centuries after the supposed collapse. The civilization changed form. The people never disappeared. So how did one of history's greatest survivals get rewritten as one of its greatest mysteries? Textbooks, documentaries, and even museum placards have long echoed a single phrase. The Maya disappeared. The narrative is everywhere, taught in classrooms, repeated in travel guides, and splashed across headlines. In the 19th century, explorers like John Lloyd Stephens arrived in the Yucatan, stunned by overgrown ruins and silent plazas. Their reports imagined a lost race, a vanished civilization swallowed by forest and time. This idea took hold, shaping generations of scholarship and public imagination alike. Even today, school materials often declare that after 900 CE, the Maya world simply ended. The language is stark: collapse, abandonment, extinction. The story is told as a mystery, a sudden vanishing act with no witnesses and no survivors. Popular media loves the drama. Lost cities, forgotten gods, a civilization erased without a trace. Yet this version of history leaves out millions of people. It ignores the voices, languages, and traditions that never stopped. Why did this myth persist for so long? Partly, it was the allure of ruins. Empty temples and toppled monuments seemed to demand an explanation. Early archaeologists mistook the silence of stone for the silence of a people. Later, the myth hardened. The collapse of kings and cities was mistaken for the end of a civilization itself. But the evidence was always there, waiting to be seen differently. Maya descendants still farmed, prayed, and told stories in the shadows of those same ruins. Their languages survived. Their customs endured. The real mystery is not why the Maya vanished, but how the myth of disappearance survived for so long. LiDAR imaging has redrawn the map of the classic Maya world, revealing a landscape once dense with plazas, temples, and causeways. At their peak, cities like Tikal, Copan, and Calakmul supported millions. Estimates reach as high as 16 million inhabitants across the lowlands. But after 750 CE, the pattern changed. LiDAR surveys show that the core footprints of these cities shrank by as much as 40 to 70%. Empty plazas, abandoned palaces, and unfinished monuments began to outnumber new construction. The last carved date at Copan, inscribed on altar Q in 822 CE, stands as a silent witness to the end of royal power. Across the southern lowlands, the glyphic record simply stops. Stelae that once proclaimed dynastic triumphs go blank. Dr. David J. Stewart, a leading epigrapher, describes this as a glyphic silence, not the end of a people, but the end of a political order. The collapse of dynasties, not the extinction of the Maya, explains the sudden halt in inscriptions and the fading of monumental art. Archaeological evidence points to more than just abandoned buildings. The decline of city centers meant the unraveling of elite patronage networks, the loss of centralized authority, and a breakdown in the traditions that kept the hieroglyphic histories alive. Yet the story written in stone is only part of the picture. While the plazas emptied, surrounding landscapes saw a rise in smaller, scattered settlements. Communities reorganized, shifting toward rural villages and wetland farms. The people who built the great cities did not disappear. They adapted, moved, and survived. The real mystery is not a vanished civilization, but how the myth of disappearance took hold. The end of kings and monuments was mistaken for the end of the Maya themselves. Archaeology now shows a world in contraction, not in oblivion, a world where dynasties failed, but the threads of ancestry and culture persisted. To understand how, the next step turns to the laboratory, where ancient DNA offers a new record of continuity hidden within the bones. Ancient DNA research starts with fragments, often a coin-sized piece of bone or tooth. In Copan, Dr. Michael F. Smith and Dr. Claudia Luce focus on the petrous part of the temporal bone, prized for its density and ability to shield DNA from the relentless heat and humidity of Central America. When petrous bones are missing, molar teeth become the next best option, their pulp chambers preserving genetic material against the odds. Inside the lab, every move is about guarding against contamination. Surfaces are scrubbed with bleach and UV light. Tools are either single-use or cleaned with precision. Even the air is filtered, and extraction blanks, empty tubes run alongside real samples, stand watch for stray DNA. Across hundreds of extractions, contamination stays below 1%, a threshold that defines credible results in this field. Extracted DNA is turned into sequencing libraries, tagged with unique barcodes, and treated to remove most chemical damage while leaving just enough for authentication. Sequencing happens on an Illumina NovaSeq 6000, producing an average coverage of 0.8 times per genome, enough to map population patterns, even if individual details remain faint. The data then runs through a bioinformatic pipeline, reads a map to the human reference genome, ancient DNA damage is measured, and genotype likelihoods are calculated. This process transforms ancient remains into genetic fingerprints, allowing researchers to compare ancestry and kinship across centuries, and laying the groundwork for discoveries to come. At Copan, the story of the Maya takes a turn that only ancient DNA could reveal. Dr. Michael F. Smith and his team began with 7 individuals, their remains spanning the city's peak and its final years. Each sample, drawn from dense petrous bone or molar teeth, carried genetic fragments that survived centuries of tropical heat and decay. In the lab, every step was designed to keep outside DNA at bay. Extraction blanks confirmed contamination levels below 1%, a gold standard in the field. Sequencing on the Illumina NovaSeq produced enough data to map ancestry, even if the details of each life remained faint. When the results came in, they challenged a century of speculation. Computer models traced the genetic ancestry of these Copan individuals, revealing that roughly 78% of their DNA matched ancient lowland Maya, a signal that also dominates in modern Maya communities from Guatemala and Belize. The rest, around 20%, reflected distant ties to highland Mexico, likely the product of elite marriages or small-scale migration. But the story was not one of replacement. There was no genetic evidence for a wave of outsiders sweeping in to repopulate the city after the dynasties fell. Instead, the same lineages that built Copan's monuments remained present through the city's collapse and beyond. Population size, however, told a different story. Genetic models showed a sharp drop, about 70%, in effective population size during the city's final century. This bottleneck matched the archaeological record: shrinking footprints, abandoned palaces, and a sudden halt to monument carving. Yet even as numbers fell, the core genetic signatures persisted. Mitochondrial haplogroups found in Copan's classic period burials still appear in living Maya, bridging a gap of more than 1,000 years. Dr. Smith's admixture plots and knee curves made the case clear. The end of Copan's royal order was not the end of its people. The Maya story, written in bone and blood, is one of continuity through crisis, a civilization transformed, not erased. Dr. Sandra D. Rios recalls the moment the kinship map revealed its secrets. 64 boys, all unearthed from the sacred cenote at Chichen Itza, their remains forming a web of relationships hidden for centuries. DNA from petrous bone and molar exposed 15 first-degree ties, brothers, sons, and, most strikingly, identical twins. Every child was male, a fact confirmed by genetic sexing and osteological checks. This single detail upended decades of speculation, replacing old theories of random or female victims with evidence of a deliberate male-only selection drawn from elite family lines. The kinship analysis sharpened the picture. Among the boys, one pair matched across millions of genetic markers, identical twins. In Maya tradition, twins held extraordinary meaning. The Popol Vuh recounts the hero twins, Hunahpu and Expalanque, who journeyed into the underworld, outwitted death, and brought maize to the world. Their myth is one of sacrifice and renewal, the cycle of life and death embodied in twinhood. For the Maya, twins were not just siblings. They were living symbols of cosmic balance and rebirth. The discovery of twins among the cenote burials echoed these ancient stories. Epigraphic records from Chichen Itza describe blood offerings of young men to sustain Chak, the rain god, and ensure the rebirth of maize. The cenote, seen as a portal to Xibalba, became the stage for reenacting myth. By offering brothers, sometimes twins, the Maya bound ritual to legend, linking the living and the dead. Dr. Rios and her team used read software and coalescent models to confirm the boys' close kinship. The genetic evidence and the Popol Vuh spoke together. These acts were not relics, but rituals of remembrance, binding past and present in an unbroken cycle. The ruins are not graves for a vanished people. They are milestones in a story still unfolding. Today, over 7 million Maya speak their ancestral languages. The living descendants carry forward memory, ritual, and kinship. History's real mystery isn't disappearance, it's endurance. What do you think endures most? Share below.